know what'd be cool? A survival game where you start off as a recently hatched dinosaur, and then as you hunt or forage for whatever food you need, the longer you're able to stay alive, the bigger you get, the stronger you get, kind of thing. And it's like an open map. You're free to go wherever. There's no specific driven plot or anything. It's just survive. And well, that game does exist. It's called The Isle. I played it quite a few years ago. I actually kind of liked it, though it did definitely have its issues. It was an early access, I think, at the time I played it. But I also had a bunch of friends from work that I had played it with. That really helped me enjoy that game. Hey, Nessie. Like, there was actually one point where I got a T-Rex to adult, pretty much, because I managed to hide away from other players that were wanting to eat me, and excuse me, and found like some little AI and monsters. Anyways, oh, you had a good fun at your VR dance event? Glad to hear it. Anyways, there's a video that came across my YouTube called "The Dinosaur Game People Hate to Play." So we are going to check that out. And yes, I did, Nessie. I haven't gone over that next video yet.
The Isle is a multiplayer open-world survival horror game that people hate to play. Okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning.
I like it. That's because I have bad taste.
Okay, that already feels so much better. Anyway, like I was saying, wait a minute. Man, am I in the Cambrian? Okay, too far. Way too far. Let's run it forward, shall we?
Really selling me on this game right now.
If you were to open up Steam and head to the Isle's official page on the store right now, you would read that the main objective of the game is to hunt, grow, and survive. But is it really? Yes, of course, there is more to the game than just the basic loop, or lack thereof, as we'll soon discuss. But overall, is that really it? And if it is, why is this game one of the top performers in its genre? Why is its player base so willing to stick with it despite being so shallow?
At least for me, because you get to be a fucking dinosaur. It was actually really sweet to be able to have different calls to shout out. Like, you could bait predators. Like, if you're a predator, like a T-Rex, you could do like a faking an injured sound so that other people would hear that. Oh, it sounds like an injured T-Rex. Let's go finish them off. Oh, no, they're at full health. Now we're dinner. That kind of thing. That was a lot of fun, especially if you can get at least a couple friends together and just coordinate some good old dinosaur time. I really liked it.
Before we begin, this video is not responsible for any future headaches, feelings of nausea, feelings of frustration, doom posting on the Isle subreddit, or having a piece of your soul chipped away anytime someone, including myself, says the words soon. The Isle belongs to the group.
I accept these terms and conditions. Contract is sealed.
Some people refer to as the big three of the dinosaur survival genre, standing toe-to-toe with Beast of Bermuda and Path of Titans.
I've never heard of those other two. I'm going to be 100% clear with you guys.
While you play as a prehistoric creature in all three of these games, they all bring something different to the table. Now, this topic has been discussed before by many a YouTuber, such as the great X Zaguer. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. So I won't be delving into those specific games. Instead, you can check out his video below if you're interested. I'll leave a link in the description. But for this video, I'd like to focus on just The Isle and why it remains one of the most important and impactful titles in its subgenre. What's this? It looks like we have some company. Allow me to answer the door. I wouldn't want to keep a guest waiting longer than necessary. That's right, bitch! It was a Lethal Company video the whole time!
I want my money back.
You've been led astray and are now aghast! I'm sure you've all heard of Lethal Company. And if you haven't, then hi, hello,
Welcome to the internet.
The game seemingly spawned overnight from the twisted mind of a single Roblox furry. I'm so serious. And, much like a SpongeBob character for literally no fucking reason,
I didn't know that about the developer. That fucking tracks.
blew up. It was a comedic goldmine with clips of players being turned into 5-star voice actors popping up left and right all over YouTube and TikTok. This is
And then there was that mod that came out where you could actually use your VTuber in the game. It actually made me want to buy it and play the game, but now all the hype is gone. It's all into Helldivers 2, and I'm already feeling like we're at the tail end of the hype for Helldivers 2. That's sad. Man, I should play Power World again. That was fun.
partly due to the game's proximity chat and walkie-talkies that serve to further immerse the player into the world by applying filters such as echo or reverb so their voices blend into the environment around them. No! You take these features and some of the most horrifying and creative monsters in recent memory. Yep, there he is. And they merged together to create an absolute masterpiece that had the internet in a complete chokehold. I need to stress, I went into this game completely blind. I avoided all spoilers like the plague for weeks before actually playing, and the result was some of the most vividly terrifying moments I've ever been subjected to. A jar of pickles. And if you've ever played it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The feeling that you get when you hear a distant thump growing ever so closer, the fear of seeing a pair of white eyes at the end of the hallway, the anticipation caused by the complete silence within the facility.
Fuck, this is totally unrelated, but like I hate horror games. This game would be perfect for a donathon for me. Oh my god, the content would be just French kiss.
Knowing something may jump out at you at any given moment. You put yourself in the position of a minimum wage employee sacrificing their life to satisfy their corporate overlords. It isn't like some horror movie where you're watching from a third-person perspective. You are not imagining yourself in a position of danger. You are in a position of danger.
Have a good night, Nessie.
There's a word for this, and I mentioned it briefly earlier. Immersion. And that is the point that I wanted to drive home. Also, I just really wanted to talk about Lethal Company.
Really? Couldn't tell.
The feeling of immersion plays a huge role in how much players enjoy a game, and for a survival title such as The Isle, the feeling of immersion is its entire foundation. It is what this specific title excels at when you compare it to its competitors. It makes you lose yourself within its world. At the risk of sounding like IGN, it really makes you feel like a dinosaur. Each playable boasts its own unique mechanics, such as Herrerasaurus's climbing or Ceratosaurus's septic bite and charged attack. Every dinosaur manages to feel different in their playstyle, supplemented by amazing animations, gorgeous textures, and top-notch sound design. The new map, Gateway, while still unfinished, is absolutely stunning, with several areas having a unique, distinguishable look and atmosphere while managing to not feel out of place. It isn't perfect by any means. There are still holes in the map that you can sometimes get stuck in for no reason, and some assets just look a little out of place sometimes. But it's an
I mean, yeah, it's a small-ass indie game, but this is really making me miss it. I wish I knew more VTubers that wanted to play it.
upgrade from any other map that we've had in the game's past. The game also possesses a decently complex diet system that adds an extra layer of depth, as some dinosaurs will only want to eat certain foods that will provide them with growth and stat buffs. So, in the face of all these positives, why do people hate to play this game? And more importantly, what happens when immersion goes too far?
I think the main thing that really stopped me from playing it was, well, the lack of other people to play it with, as well as it has, I'm gonna be real, very basic combat kind of thing. You have your bite, and that's about the depth of their combat, at least from what I remember. I guess I could be coming at this from like nostalgia goggles and hoping it gets better, but I haven't touched it in forever.
Put it simply, the community has faced countless frustrations caused by both the developers' poor decision-making and at the hands of fellow players. The Isle has been in development for a while. A long while. To give you a point of reference, I was in middle school when I first played this game. I am in college. And the game's developers have a checkered past, to say the least. From passive-aggressive responses when asked questions to blatantly ignoring player feedback in some cases despite an entire channel being dedicated to such, in the official Discord. The game's lead developer, Dondi, has an especially sour reputation among the Dinosaur survival community. Now, before I begin, I'm not going to be going over any of the repeat offenses or legal issues that certain devs have faced in the past. There are plenty of other videos that discuss those topics in a much better and more knowledgeable way than I'm qualified to do so I won't.
Man.
Instead, I'd like to backtrack a couple of months, back to when Gateway was originally dropped. In November of 2023, the long-awaited map, Gateway, was officially released to the public branch of Avrima for every...
November 2023. I think I was playing it around, I want to say 2017, 2018. Just to give you a little more perspective of how long this game has been in development.
To enjoy after several weeks of stress testing. It was met with resounding approval from the community, as it included new human structures, recognizable landmarks, and two greatly anticipated mechanics: the weather and the migration system. These were some of the more major changes. There was plenty of minor things included as well. How could this update possibly have gone wrong? Well, alongside these new additions, the developers also changed something seemingly out of nowhere: the stamina system. In an effort to deter constant brawling and careless sprinting from one side of the map to the next, they dramatically increased the amount of time that it would take for your character to fully regenerate their stamina. It's important to note that some animals' entire playstyle revolves around stamina usage, such as Pteranodon's flight and Omniraptor's pounce. These changes effectively rendered them useless. And to make matters worse, the hunger and thirst drain values were not appropriately altered to fit the size of Gateway. You see, the map is big, really big, and that means that finding food and water is not as easy, especially if you are unfamiliar with the layout.
Yeah, very often in this game you would start off and then you die like 5 times before you could actually get a decent start. There was more than a handful of players that were also, you know, looking for their current next meal, because you got to keep feeding. And holy shit, if you nerf the stamina and then don't change the thirst and hunger meters to compensate, you're just going to be killing players left and right.
Couple this with stamina that requires sitting for 3 to 4 minutes at a time, and you get players dying from starvation and dehydration. These changes were met with intense criticism from the community, as players, including myself, were pretty happy with the stamina system that was already in place. And as a response, the developers doubled down, telling people to just conserve their stamina and be smarter about how they use it. And that's all fine and dandy. In fact, I completely agree with this sentiment. I 100% think that the game should be a little slower, in the sense that people should conserve their stamina instead of just fighting the first thing they see, or running aimlessly from one side of the map to the next. Except, and obviously I can't speak for everybody, but I can safely say that most players were already conserving their stamina prior to this update. The reason that people were...
I mean, yeah, I personally, when I was playing this, I didn't, because I played pre the stamina change by at least a few years, but yes, I would sprint somewhat to close distances faster, trying to get to like a watering hole or something. Hey Joestar, how you doing? But a lot of the time I wanted to make sure I had at least a quarter stamina or something. Hey Alexa, how you doing? Because like you never know when there's a T-Rex around the corner. You need to be able to at least get away.
Running around in a dinosaur battle royale wasn't because of a lack of stamina conservation. It's because there's little else to do in the game besides that. They were merely addressing a symptom of the problem, not the cause. However, I will give credit where credit is due. The developers seem to be more than aware that there is very little to do in the game right now, and that they apparently are workshopping different systems to be able to spice things up a bit. And it's worth mentioning that the stamina system is not as bad as it was before. It's in a much better place right now that strikes a perfect balance between actually conserving stamina while also giving players the freedom to play like how they're supposed to. Is it perfect? No, I still feel that some of the rest...
This game is called The Isle, and personally, I kind of like it. It's a dinosaur survival game. I played it, oh my god, like 6 years ago? Oh my god. I'm old.
Times for the smaller dinosaurs especially are a little bit too long, but it is 100% better and in a more dynamic spot than it was prior. And despite the drama that this update caused, people continued to play the game. So all's well that ends well, right? The game is okay now? Next up on the chopping block was growth times. Evidently, they thought there was something wrong with this as well.
It took hours. Like so many hours of just surviving to go up to the next rank. If you want to hit like an adult T-Rex, I think it was 8 hours of like gameplay time. And if you die, you start all over. It's permadeath stuff. If they push it longer, I would be mad.
So, naturally, they decided to dramatically extend the time that it would take for a playable to reach adulthood.
I am mad.
To the point where it took almost, if not over an hour to grow two of the smallest creatures on the entire roster, Troodon and Babyalsaurus. For full transparency, I need to clarify that these changes were being done on a public testing branch prior to being released officially to the game, but people, including myself, were still pretty fired up about it. This time, the change was done to encourage players to fulfill their preferred diets, yet another thing that mostly everybody was doing prior to any manipulation. And I'll go ahead and spoil what.
Alexa, in this game, you are a dinosaur. It's all about hunting, surviving, growing, trying to reach adulthood, and then becoming like the super bad of the server kind of thing. There's little else to do besides hunt and grow and survive.
What happens, people complained about these unnecessary and unwanted changes that, again, seemingly came out of nowhere. Do you see a pattern yet? Some of the major complaints lodged by the players was how ridiculous it seemed to have such a small, fragile animal take over an hour to grow to adulthood. And the reason that I think this is a valid complaint is because most of us have these little things called jobs and families to spend time with and democracy to fight for. So this topic feeds back into what I previously said about the game lacking a complete and fulfilling loop, but it also serves as a second example of piss-poor decision-making at the hands of some of these developers. And I want to emphasize the word some, because there are members of the team who treat the community with respect and dignity and avoid any drama altogether. It would be unfair and disingenuous of me to lump them all under the same umbrella, as most of them are merely following what Dondi has to say.
Yeah, gotta keep in mind, people, that not all the developers are on board with what the public face does, kind of thing. Don't treat people like a monolith. Not everybody is the same. Like, that should be known, but the fact that this guy, what's his name? Kingfisher, the fact that Kingfisher and I are both bringing it up is... people are disappointing.
He is the lead developer of the team. Once again, I'll give props where it's due, and I'll acknowledge the fact that growth at this time is in a much better spot. The juvenile stage is much shorter with the proper diets, and the growth speed begins to taper off at around the subadult stage of life, which is quite accurate as many animals tend to grow up very quickly. And just like before, despite the unnecessary changes, people kept playing during this time. However, the straw that finally broke the gallon...
Am I talking about Tora tonight? Yeah, probably.
Mimus is back. Were the camera changes. As of recording this video, Dondi did a stream where he showed off a prototype system in which the currently third-person camera would be zoomed in on the character, in a sort of pseudo first-person perspective that would serve to, as they say, slip you into the skin of the dinosaurs. The idea is to essentially restrict the player's vision to a borderline unnecessary amount to further, I don't know, make the game more of a pain in the ass than it already is. Upon seeing
Personally, I would kind of like the first-person option available, but that's the keyword. Option. Hey, you two. Kitties are fighting. Gotham, you're asking for it. Leave Sushi alone.
these changes, people lost their minds. For days, the feedback channel was littered with pleas from players begging them to not implement this new system, as most people would actually like to see their dinosaur skins and animation while they play.
This is also completely fair. People should be allowed to make the choice. Do you want to play in third person or first person? Give people the option. At least Bethesda recognizes that one.
You know, because they're normal. This is a perfect example of immersion going too far, completely hindering the player's gameplay experience rather than adding something of substance. I need to stress, what Dondi showed off was merely a prototype. It is obviously not indicative of the final product in any way, rather it's the concept itself that people have a problem with. Because regardless of how important immersion may be, as we've already discussed, this is still a video game. And video games are supposed to be fun. Because most of the time, real life sucks. And it is even less fun for a wild animal that does nothing but run, eat, drink, and shit every single day of its life. I also just personally don't think it's worth it to exchange enjoyment over realism, and instead there is a balance that needs to be struck. Since the initial exhibition of this new system, the developers have done some damage control and reassured us that while some form of camera change is inevitable, it will be either a server option or simply walked backwards if they can't find a way to make it feel good.
No, it shouldn't be server option, it should be individual option of how you want the camera setup. Guys, come on. Please. Gotham.
However, there's one major thing that I couldn't help but notice during this drama, and it served as a stark reminder that the developers are not the only ones at fault for the toxicity in the community. Somehow, players began turning on each other for so much as discussing these changes. Discord moderators began banning people from the official Isle server simply for voicing their opinion, citing misinformation as the main cause when there was no evidence of foul play. Meanwhile, the complete opposite was underway in the Isle subreddit, as moderators were banning anybody who even suggested the Isle may be a good game. And the worst part, in my opinion, were the people who were so—
That is fucking wild. Oh my... Man, do I still like the game? I don't know. It looks pretty cool.
unhappy with the game that they review bombed it on Steam, bringing the recent review status to mixed. This is not how a healthy community should behave, and we need to just do better. We aren't Neanderthals, and yet we continue to throw sticks and stones at each other. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, regardless of what it may be, and suppressing that is only going to add fuel to the fire, as we've already seen. Look, despite all the crap that we put up with as a community, most of the developers deserve some praise for what they have done. They have truly given us an experience like no other, and while I do not wish to target anyone in particular, I just want to leave the video off with this. To the developers, please listen to your players. I understand that some of us have terrible takes, but when 90% of the community is rallying behind a common ideal, it should be pretty obvious what the next step is. I understand.
Like, even if, like, let's say 90% of the audience is rallying behind something, even if you think they are wrong, hear them out at least. Please. Oh my god.
Understand that you have a vision for your game. However, you are making a video game for people to enjoy. Despite everything, we continue to play the Isle because we believe that it is special. It provides us with a unique and immersive experience that we would be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. And I, for one, critique the game heavily because I want nothing more than to see it succeed. I'm sure most people who play this game wish for the same thing. I do not wish any ill will to anybody at Afterthought, regardless of the quality of their decisions, and I genuinely hope the future of the Isle is much brighter than its past. If you made it till the end of the video, then thank you very much, and hey, we have our own Discord server now. We got the Fisher Gang, so if you want to join and come chill and discuss the game openly without the fear of being banned, I'll leave a link down in the comments. And if you want to take it a step further, feel free to join my Patreon. For only $2 a month, you'll be supporting me and my video creation endeavors, and I will personally give you a little smooch, platonically, and a personal shout out at the end of each and every video from now until the sun explodes. If you do decide to pledge, then thank you. Your support seriously means more than you know. But
okay, yeah, this guy does seem pretty poggers. He is going on for a bit though. I liked his video. I think he's got some good shit to say. I think the Isle, oh my god, I do personally like it. I just I think I'm gonna give it a go again, honestly. Like, especially if I can get some people together, see if they also want to play it. That would be a lot of fun. Oh yeah, I gotta arrange that one too. Anyways, yeah, the Isle looks pretty poggers. I played it a while back. I want to play it again. I don't know when I will. I don't know if I'll stream it. We'll find out. See where the night goes. So what is that game exactly? Let me... The Isle gameplay. Let's go with... Screw it, the top one. Thank you.
Bro, this is how I would look when I'm. I don't
Thank
care
you.
who it is. It could be a dodo. I'm not trusting it. And what
Like-
I love about this game is it actually has a.
You're playing as the dinosaur in third person. You got your compass up top. You got... The compass will point you towards water and food and stuff all like that. You got to pay attention to your survival needs and stuff. And it's PvP. There are like smaller, at least from what I remember, there are smaller prey AI dinosaur that keep popping up. That's largely what I sustained myself as a T-Rex all the way to adulthood. I found like a little watering hole that was pretty secluded. Nobody came by. I liked it. Ooh, thank you, Alexa. But yeah, it's a lot of this. It's so much running around drinking. Oh, he got injured here. Is it because he jumped or did he fight something? Oh, it's just a cut? Okay. Oh yeah, there's also like a night vision available. Or sort of thing where dinosaurs get turned white. Oh, there he's eating a boar or something like that. Hey, Gotham. Stop bothering sushi. But yeah, that's pretty much the Isle. I really like playing T-Rex, but they take a long time to whatchamahoo's it reach adulthood. It's on Steam. If it sounds like something up your aisle, check it out. Why not? Thanks for watching. Like it if you like it, dislike if you didn't. Let me know in the comments why you think I'm wrong. Check out the community on Discord. And remember, if you can't be the sharpest tool in the shed, you can always be the hoe. Just want to take a quick second and thank all the beeps that have joined my channel through the memberships. So thank you, Joestar, Maxi Kitty, JM, and Hero.